everybody. Welcome back to the VHS Tapes podcast. And today, I'd like to give you guys a little behind the scenes look at how stuff is made. For audio only episodes, it's pretty simple. We record with a bot in Discord called Craig. That way we can take advantage of Discord's noise suppression system so we don't get background noise. And it's also usually recorded with OBS to capture like just an extra layer of audio just in case the bot, has a bad connection or something. Then those are taken into Sony Vegas for editing and so on. There's not a ton that messes up during audio-only episodes. It's more or less sometimes the bot is uncooperative. Thankfully, lately it hasn't, but in the early days of the podcast, it was having a lot of issues. So, back in season 1, in the episode Horror Movies, this was kind of funny after the fact once we got it to work. But during it was very frustrating. We were trying to get the Craig bot to join to record us, and it would join and leave, or it would just not respond for like minutes at a time. There is a alternate bot by the same developer called Geark, which is just Craig backwards. That one also was having issues. We tried a third bot. I don't remember what it was. This was over 2 years ago at this point. And it just ended up not working because the bot in its default form would only record about 6 minutes of audio unless you paid, I think, to have a longer recording. So that was not going to work out for us. Finally, after we were about to call it quits, Craig decided to just come back to life. And Geark also decided to start working, so we had 2 copies of the recording, I believe. And yeah, it was quite frustrating. I think we actually lost some of the opening of that episode because it kind of just starts with us laughing about how it's suddenly joined. And it wasn't noticed until after the fact, so there's nothing we could do about it. Similar events have happened through other audio recording sessions, but it's just not... It might just be, for a few moments, it's not responding correctly or so. Nothing, too interesting. The VR chat episodes that we started in Season 3 have a bit more interesting stuff behind the scenes. We still use the Craig bot more often than not as a secondary line of audio. Also, it is still done with OBS because there is a whole feature in VR chat, where OBS can latch onto your stream camera and we can record, put the camera wherever we want, and very convenient. I think it's made a lot of interesting episodes because you can see body language and it's not just audio by itself. So I think it really elevates some of the episodes that we do. And so, starting from last season's 10th episode, which was our first VR chat episode, Cheese. This will essentially just be a series of little stories about what happened behind the scenes, or any issues, funny moments, or technical problems we had. So, there was a technical difficulty that arose before the episode started. I use a Quest 2 headset because it was the cheapest thing I could afford. And I cannot have base stations in my room for VR because I just don't have the space. And I just don't have the money to buy all of that right now. I couldn't get my headset to connect to the PC. I was still new to figuring that out. Now I know there's a couple little tricks you can do to get it to connect and so on. But I ended up giving up, and I had to operate in standalone mode. So I was just strictly plugged into power. And you will notice, if you look at the video and you zoom in at this spot on the cheese block, you can see the VRChat desktop cursor because what I'm actually using to record was my alt account, and it was just kind of just squatting off to the side to be the camera. You can never unsee this now. You're welcome. Enjoy. The 15th episode, which was our next VRChat episode, Total Recall. It took a little more work to find a suitable world. I went through several. The problem with some of these worlds is they're not all very optimized. They can be extremely laggy, and paired with the avatars I might want to use, might just compound the problem more, make the frame rate even more unbearable than it is. The one we ended up on, I don't have the name on hand right now, but it was credited in the original video. We settled on that, and there were a couple alternatives. One of them was, like, on the surface of Mars, there was a rover just sitting there. It was kind of cool. Maybe it'll get used in a future episode. If we find another movie where we talk about Mars, I guess. But yeah, if we don't end up using a world that we find cool, it will probably get shelved, and, we'll find a use for it somewhere. Next one was episode 19, Bioshock. I found a very nice world called Moonlight Lounge, which captures the feel of the game very well, at least a particular area. Very nice world, and the opening bit, as if you watch the episode, there are bloopers at the end, kept having some issues with maneuvering the camera around. It was still new to it. I am, even now, still not a pro at using it. I'm still very much a novice at it. But it's gotten a lot easier. And yeah. But it was still quite a fun episode. I loved the theme of it. And yes. Next, episode 21 was the first of several episodes shot at the world early in the morning. This world was used for Cows, Game Recommendations 1, Thor, and ultimately retired after we did Ketchup vs. Mustard. Although you guys will have noticed the Season 4 premiere, I believe 2 episodes ago, was used for it, but that was because we recorded that in June of 2023, whereas Ketchup vs. Mustard was much later in the year. I forget, it was October or November or something like that. The first 2 episodes of the Small Talk series were filmed at Moe's Bar from The Simpsons, although we also retired this world due to frustrations of the chairs, because if you click in the right spot, you end up just getting forced into a chair, and it's really annoying. You can't shut it off, so we decided to just find a different world. And we have now, as I believe the previous episode, if I look at the episode queue here, was, yes, Small Talk 3, episode 100. So, that world, I can't think of the name at the moment, but again, it's every world I try to credit in the description of the video. You can check that. It should tell you what it is, in case people want to check the worlds out. Episode 30, Alone in the Empty World 3, The Last Twinkie, was originally... Well, actually, it still ended up being it. The idea was a improv episode where we're trying to hunt down the last Twinkie because, I forget, me or Venom ate them all, or something like that. It is a Simpsons hit-and-run world. It's ported from the game of the same name, featuring drivable and throwable cars. You can pick them up and just launch them across the map. It is fantastic. And the world is still in development. They're adding more stuff to it, so it's a quite fun little world to explore in the world of The Simpsons. Episodes 31 and 35, unfortunately, nothing significant happened here. Episode 36, Resident Evil 3, was an incredibly frustrating shoot just for the opening bit. For whatever reason, OBS I must have changed a setting, which is why the footage is incredibly laggy in the opening bit, and it took a lot of takes to get it right. The little trick we had here was thanks to the scaling feature that had just launched for VRChat, and the secret of the sequence was Venom was actually shrunk down in the bathtub, and I portrayed, well, Venom. And what I did is I looked around, and when I turned to the door, I tell him to reset his height size. So then when I turn back, he's standing in the bathtub like he's just appeared out of thin air. Weirdly enough, I cannot find this, but as I've not played the original Resident Evil 3, I swear I saw it. It was either a cutscene from the game, at least it appeared to be by the graphics, or it was a video somebody made with assets from the game, where it showed Jill entering the bathroom and finding a zombified version of herself in the bathtub that jumped out and attacked her. And I'm at a loss because I cannot find this clip anywhere. But it was based on that. So that's what that was about. And we thought it would be a little funny, nod to it. Episode 38, Halloween, had a similar trick for the end gag, albeit without the scaling bit. When I left at the end of the episode, I actually just respawned, changed into the Michael Myers avatar, and then killed Venom. Episode 39, Rubber, featured a special edit of the Godrunner avatar made just for Halloween-themed episodes. And also, I use this just during the Halloween season anyways. I have that one, I have a God Revenger Halloween edit, and I also have a Rindo edit that has orange hair and little orange bits on the clothing. And also some spooky Halloween prefab toys down there to goof around with. So, a similar trick, as I said, I enter the tent, I respawn, and then return to the other side as a tire, although there was actually an edit here because it took a few takes to make the tire look like it was moving at the correct speed. For episode 47, Ketchup vs. Mustard, I was able to recruit the gayest man alive to appear on the podcast for the first time.
I am not gay!
Yes, Bex. Yes, you are. Don't lie. For episode 48, the intro was shot at two different worlds. Twin Pines Mall is the location of the same name for the film, and Fox Night World had a better model of the DeLorean for the interior shots. Originally, there was also going to be a couple Christmas episodes for the month of December, but due to time and availability constraints, these had to be shelved for the time being. And that about wraps it up. Maybe there'll be another one of these, next year or so, recapping like some of the behind the scenes shenanigans that go on. But I just wanted to put that out there, let people know this is how some of the stuff. This is how some of the stuff is done behind the scenes. So yeah, and for those of you interested for a little more detail, I use Sony Vegas Pro 15 for editing videos. Audacity, sometimes I use that. You can use that to not only record audio, but you can also mess around with changing the audio. You can amplify it, you can add sound effects to it, you can make yourself sound like a robot or something like that. And OBS Studio is used for recording not only just audio for audio only episodes, but also game footage or VR chat, so on. And Paint.net is what would be used for making the thumbnails for said videos. And yeah, I'd say that's pretty much everything. And see you in the next episode. Bye.